I took my leftover indigo paint, which is a mixture of the garnet and the turquoise. It's in a little plastic fruit cup that I mixed it in. Put a plastic bag over it and fastened it with a rubber band to save it. Okay, I took the bag and rubber band off, and it's still wet. Good. Okay. Here's a close-up of the 2 coats that I have on this jug so far. This has some air bubbles in it, unfortunately. You can see it's got kind of an interesting texture. It's got a combination of brush strokes for the, you can see this is only 1 coat here. It's got, you can see the brush strokes. The second coat I did by dabbing, and I only did that for the black, garnet, and turquoise, and now I'm going to do the 2 here and here, indigo and the malachite green. Okay, so I was able to save some of my indigo paint. I might need to mix a little bit more, we'll see. I have my favorite fluffy thick brush. Oh yeah, I'm gonna need a lot more. So I have to mix about equal parts of the garnet and the turquoise. Just eyeball it. Ooh, that's gonna be probably a little much. Use my brush to mix that together. Alright. And this coat, again, I am just dabbing on thickly in the middle of the area that I want colored indigo, and then kind of blending it outward. This is making air bubbles too, so I need to I should go back to swiping it with the brush and then being a little more careful with my texture so I don't get so many air bubbles. So lay it on. So apparently you don't want to be too vigorous so that you don't get a bunch of air bubbles all over it. Okay. Now just lay it, let the paint kind of run out a little bit on my brush. As I blend up, layer it over the black. So gradually transition from indigo to black. And then I need to transition at the bottom from the indigo to the garnet color. oops, I actually need to add a little more paint down near the bottom of this. So just not overload my brush, just kind of put a light amount of paint on there and then kind of blend it down. Oh, that looks good. So what I did there is loaded my brush, wiped off the extra, put on a light amount of paint for a little area, and then continue to pat it after most of the paint was off my brush, and that kind of blended the color. So it made the indigo lighter and lighter as I worked down. So just a light amount of paint on the brush, tap around this darker edge to extend a lighter color down into the garnet, and then kind of blend and tap it down. So there's a nice blending from one color to the next. Okay, oops. Or forget that you need to wipe off your brush. All right. Get a little paper towel and blot off the extra. Okay, a small amount of paint. Tap it on there until the paint is kind of mostly off the brush, and then start blending it down. This one's blending really nicely, I think. I think I'm probably going to do one more coat after this, but I might actually brush that coat on to kind of smooth out the lines a little bit. Kind of smooth out, kind of just to have a different texture, so to kind of blends together, overall blends together more smoothly. So I'm blending that almost really into the middle of the garnet color. Now, indigo is at the top and the bottom of the garnet, so I'm going to repeat this process under the garnet. And then I save time by just doing that off camera, and then I'll come back and finish it. Okay, so now I put the indigo below the garnet also in these two places, and the last one is the shimmer bronze. There we go. The last one is the malachite green. Okay, then I need to set it on top of a jar. Just a sec. So that I can paint all the way down to the bottom. So I'm going to put the green toward the top edge of my line, dabbing it on. Do a section at a time and sort of dab it up and blend it into the turquoise above it. happy with it. Okay. Do that all the way around. So I really loaded the brush, but I might want to wipe it off the back side because that's how I was getting a lot of drips before, was letting it be loaded on both sides. Pat it on there. The padding gives a sort of mottled texture to it, so it's kind of splotchy, bits of darker color and lighter color. You have to kind of vary it up if you don't want to look like a repeating pattern. Big air bubble. Try to pop the air bubbles with your brush, or you can keep a toothpick or something nearby. Work so that you can see it better. And then dab up. I'm going to get the camera and give you a better feel. Okay, so get my paintbrush. Dip it in a brush. I wipe off the paint from just the back side of the brush so that won't drip. And I tap the paint on and kind of push it around into the position that I want until I have most of the paint placed on the jar, and then I start wipe some of that off a little bit. And then start blending up into the next, and you can wipe a little extra off sometimes to blend it a little better, like that. So you can see I'm almost back to the part where I started. There's a little gap there to finish. So dab that on. Blend that out a little bit. Might need to do a little light brushing to blend out some of these a little bit better. Yeah, like that right there. Blend that out a little bit. Okay, and then I need to finish adding the paint all the way down to the bottom. And I'll just show you a part of that to save video time. Oops. So I just continue that. All the way down. Let's see if I can get a shot of that. It's hard to get it down below the edge of the table. So all the way from this bottom edge like that up to here. And that is our second coat. Completed second coat of all of those paints so far. can get it to come in focus. And then I'll probably apply a third coat, just brushed back and forth, sort of like I did the first coat, and kind of blending it a little bit more. Thanks.